I hate animating. Why? Because I'm not good at it. I want to make my videos more entertaining, because I've noticed that I often have trouble finding clips for videos, and a lot of the time it's just me with a blank screen talking. If I could animate, I could have something for the viewers to look at while I rant about random junk. Unfortunately, animation isn't on the list of random skills I've accumulated over the years, and I ain't great at it. If only there were a simpler way, a method so straightforward that a child could do it. Then I remembered that VTubing existed. I didn't exactly like VTubing, which I think is mostly because anytime I see a video with a VTuber, their avatar is an anime girl with some rather unnatural anatomy. Like, I'm just trying to watch a tutorial video, chill with the avatars, bro! But I found it really cool how they could control a character with just their body movements, and I really wanted to give that a try. After doing a bit of research, I found some cool VTubing software that uses webcams, and I gathered up a small list of apps that I wanted to try out, and I began comparing all of them. All of the stuff that I'll be using is linked in the description. The first one I downloaded is called XR Animator. XR Animator can do real-time full-body tracking with AI using your webcam or a video file, and is free to use. You can get XR Animator by downloading it from the GitHub page, then extract the file and run the exe. To quickly start tracking your body, first turn on your webcam by double-clicking the webcam button and selecting your webcam. Then you can turn the tracking on by double-clicking the motion capture button and selecting what kind of tracking you want. There's a lot of tracking options that you can choose, such as face only, body plus hands, full body, etc. Now just make sure you're in your camera's view and start moving around. I went with full body mode and it was really fun to mess around with. Sometimes it looks a bit janky, but overall I think the quality is really good. It gets jittery and freaks the hell out when you're closer to the camera, so just make sure that you stand back quite a bit. Once I stood back more, I could wave my arms around more easily and it looked way more accurate too. I didn't have very high expectations, but this thing blew my mind with how good the tracking is. I feel like a caveman discovering technology for the first time. I'm not sure if I'm overreacting and this is normal for you guys, but I just found it so impressive and cool. One thing that was really important for me is good hand and facial tracking. I did some tests with my fingers and face and I found that it tracks pretty well. Sometimes it gets confused with the fingers when I turn my wrist, but it overall looks decent. I also learned that you really have to exaggerate your facial expressions for it to track properly. You probably can't tell, but I look like a crazy maniac in real life just to get this to track properly. With the default character, the facial tracking is pretty good. It can track your mouth and your eyes, and if I look around the room, the character's eyes will follow. That's pretty much it though, and I can't smile. I don't know if different models have different levels of expressiveness, so I downloaded some models online to test out. And oh my god, was it funny.
Hello everybody, I really had a good time. I don't want to, cause it's my...
Let me see this. How do you get this? How do you do that? Oh no! Oh, that's so good. What the heck? Yar har, I'm coming for you, Booty.
I don't die. I'm dead. I'm dead.
I'm coming for you, Booty. I'm over there. That's my jump scare. Want to talk about your car's extended warranty? Can I pick my nose with the hook?
Don't use it.
Why do I look shocked now? What am I doing to make myself look shocked? I don't get it. Is mayonnaise an instrument? And I learned that yes, expressions do depend on models. Like this basic human character, which can actually smile. The character also starts freaking the hell out as it frantically tries to track where you are when you move out, which I find funny. There's also a feature called the hand camera, which puts the camera right in one of your hands. I don't know why, but this just looks so hilarious to me. It's like the jankiest vlog ever. Hey guys, welcome to the new vlog. As you can see, I am now an anime woman. Anyway, that's the end of the vlog. Goodbye. XR Animator can also have backgrounds with either 2D images, HDRIs, or 3D models. The 2D background is what you would expect. You can pick a solid color or your webcam as the background. Or you can upload a custom image. The 3D backgrounds are a little interesting though. You can upload a 3D model as a background and activate Explorer mode, which lets you use WASD to move around in the 3D environment. You can't adjust the size or the position of the 3D model in XR Animator though, so I had to scale this thing up in Blender, which is annoying. update, hello, me in the future here, it turns out that you actually can move the model around and scale it. You can move the model left or right with the arrow keys, and you can move it up and down by holding shift and using the up and down arrow keys. And you can scale it up with numpad plus or minus. Don't know how I didn't figure this stuff out. Anyways, back to the video, I guess. Everything also has collision, and the character can walk up and down stuff. There are also poses that you can put the character into by double clicking the poses button and selecting a pose. And the last thing I want to mention is the VMC protocol, which I think is pretty cool. I haven't tried it yet, but it can send 3D motion data in real time to other apps, including other VTubing software and game engines. I got curious and wondered if I could maybe send the motion data into Godot or something, but that'll have to be a video for another day. That's pretty much it for the features. There's probably stuff that I missed, but you guys can check that out for yourself. The performance on my computer is actually really good. It's very responsive and does work in real time, despite my computer being an old relic. I can run this thing smoothly with Discord, my note-taking app, my download manager, VLC playing music, Steam, and a billion Chrome tabs open. The only times the frames drop a little bit is when I have OBS opened and recording, but it still looks quite nice. Overall, XR Animator runs wonderfully on my computer with minimal frame drops when OBS is open and recording. You can download XR Animator for free on GitHub, and I'm pretty sure it's okay to use commercially. I'm no legal expert though, so I could be completely wrong, but from what I've read, it should be fun to use for videos or streams. It uses the Attribution Non-Commercial Share Alike 4.0 International License, what a freaking mouthful, which doesn't allow commercial use, but on the GitHub page it says that this license does not apply to content generated from the functionality of XR Animator, such as video content generated from the motion capture feature of System Animator using your own assets. I'm no legal expert, but I think that means it's fun to use, right? I don't know if this applies to the entire license though, so maybe just give attribution just to be safe. So to summarize, XR Animator is a free real-time motion tracking software that works very well and is simple to set up. The tracking quality is surprisingly good but can sometimes glitch, and you can send the 3D motion data to other VTubing software or game engines. I give it a 7 out of 10. The hand tracking could be better, but considering this thing is free and it works with just a webcam, it's still quite high quality. The next one is VSeeface. VSeeface is a free VTubing software with highly configurable tracking, and it has a focus on robust tracking and high image quality. You can download VSeeface on their website, vseeface.icu. After downloading it, just unzip the file and open the exe. After it's open, click the big plus button to add your VTuber models. Make sure you configure the settings like tracking quality and camera. Then just select your model and click the start button. It'll take a couple of seconds to load and then it will start tracking. I'd say the tracking for the face is pretty good, though I do think XR Animator does a better job at it. Sometimes blinking or winking can be buggy, but they do work. I got winking working on the first try in XR Animator, while it took like 30 seconds or so for VSeeface to start tracking properly. I later figured out a way to use XR Animator for the tracking in VSeeface though, so keep watching if you're interested. The website wasn't kidding when it said that it was highly configurable. There are a ton of stuff that you can configure. There are effect settings, light settings, and more. In the effect settings, you can add and edit things like lens distortion, bloom, color, and ambient occlusion, which I think is awesome. Are you ready for Freddy? Oh, good gracious. In the expression settings, you can add keybinds for different expressions like joy, anger, and neutral. There are just so many settings that I don't think I can go through all of them. In the general settings, you can also change how sensitive the expressions are, so that you can make the character move with less motion. On the side menu, there's a button labeled Props, which lets you add images and GIFs onto the screen. I'm not sure what I would do with this, but it's there. And as far as I can see, that's it for VSeeface. I was honestly expecting a bit more of this, but the file size of this is only 300 megabytes compared to XR Animator's size of 700 megabytes. Though for 300 megabytes, this program is really good. Unfortunately, it doesn't have full body or arm tracking, which is sad. But I found another program called ThreeDPoseTracker, which uses VMC protocol to send the tracking data into VSeeface, and it actually worked. The program tracks my full body's movements and then sends that data over to VSeeface. There's a problem though, of course there's a problem. It only tracks my body movement and doesn't do any face or hand tracking. It also runs horribly on my computer and I get around 24 FPS. My computer fans literally sounded like they're about to take off into the sky. Well, that's definitely not going to work. I was about to leave it at that, but then a light bulb lit up in my head. What if I turn on the VMC protocol in XR Animator and send that motion data into VSeeface? Well, I tried and it kinda worked. My character was definitely moving and was in there, but I couldn't see it. I later discovered that you can actually move the camera in VSeeface by holding down Alt and dragging with the middle mouse button. Now it works pretty much perfectly. I can now use both together, VSeeface for effects and XR Animator for the tracking. The performance of VSeeface is slightly better than XR Animator when I'm recording with OBS, but overall they both run pretty much at the same speed. I don't get any frame drops with VSeeface and it runs very smoothly. VSeeface is free to use commercially and you won't get into any trouble as long as you don't modify it or claim that you made it. To summarize, VSeeface is a decent tracking software that is free to use and has many settings for you to customize to your heart's content. If you don't like the tracking, you can use XR Animator with VSeeface. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. The tracking could be better, but all of the different settings are very cool and I really like how you can press hotkeys to change the model's emotions. Next up is Warudo. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Warudo. Warudo is 100% free for personal use and has a whole lot of features. And by a lot, I mean 6 GB worth of features. Making a basic setup is easy to do, but if you are god at programming, unlike me, you can really go crazy with your VTubing setup. You can get Warudo for free on Steam, and once that's done downloading, open it up. Once Warudo is open, you'll want to click on the basic setup to quickly start. This thing will pop up and it'll ask you to choose a model. You can just go with the default one or click the Open Characters folder button and copy all of your models into this folder. Then just open up the drop down menu and select your character. Just click on OK and it'll ask you about your settings. If you know what you're doing, you can choose the bottom option, or you can let Warudo recommend settings for you. It'll ask for some more configurations, and then you can import expressions. If your model has expressions that can be triggered with hotkeys, you can either choose to import them or to not import them. Next, you can choose your background. For now, I'll just go with the default sky background. And now you're pretty much done. With face tracking, you can either pick Media Pipe or OpenSeeface, which is what VSeeface uses. But with pose tracking, there's only one option for webcam tracking. I tried the Media Pipe face tracking and I think it's very accurate. I managed to get winking to work on the first try and it tracks very well. But the upper body tracking is it's not exactly the greatest. I don't know if I messed up the settings or not, but the arm and hand tracking just aren't very accurate. XR Animator is definitely better at pose tracking with just a webcam. It also feels kind of laggy and it's not as responsive as XR Animator. If I move my arm from one spot to the other, it takes almost a full second or so for it to react. I'm only working with a webcam here, so I don't know if using a leap motion or VR headset will be better. Actually no, those will definitely be better. The pose tracking is kind of bad, but the environments and lighting are absolutely beautiful. Warudo is made in Unity, so it has some pretty freaking awesome graphics. When I zoomed the camera out, I saw that there's actually a gizmo thing that I can use to drag my character around, which is really cool. I noticed in the editor that I can actually rotate and scale the model too. Using Warudo kind of feels like using Blender or Godot. In the editor, you can change a bunch of stuff like the environment, the character you're using, and the light. I tried changing the environment to a classroom and it looks really awesome. It really does feel like I'm using a game engine right now. I'm really impressed with the amount of settings I can configure. It might be even more than VSeeface. I tried checking out the blueprints and holy crap, my eyes! Okay, my brain isn't built for visual scripting, I'm just going to leave that alone. On the side of the editor, you can also find a discovery page filled with a whole lot of stuff. It kind of looks like an asset store or something. You get a lot of control using Warudo. Pretty much everything has settings that you can configure. But like with VSeeface, I can't seem to control the whole body with just my webcam. I tried setting it up so that I could use XR Animator with it, and it actually works really well. In the camera settings, you can enable a transparent background or a green screen for keying out later, which is really useful. Like VSeeface, there's also options for bloom and color. There are also some more effects though, like blur, pixelate, and even night vision. You can also set up interactions for streams and stuff, but I don't do streaming yet, so I won't be checking that out. Okay, I don't have the time nor the patience to test out every single setting, so I'm just going to leave it at here. Warudo runs just as well as VSeeface or XR Animator on my old computer, and I don't experience any lag at all. But I do kind of have low FPS with the arm and hand tracking. I only get around 24 to 28 FPS and the movement isn't very smooth. Warudo is free for personal use, but if you want to use it commercially, you would have to contact them according to the Steam page. I'm pretty sure you would have to buy the pro version to use this commercially. It could be worth it though if you're super serious about VTubing, or if you want a super powerful VTubing software. To summarize, Warudo is a really cool and powerful VTubing software with a whole lot of settings for you to customize and a blueprint system for all you nerds out there. It's made in Unity, so it can have some awesome looking effects and backgrounds. But you can't use it commercially unless you buy the pro version. With just the webcam, the face tracking works very well and is accurate. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for the arm tracking. The arm tracking is glitchy and I can barely move them without them glitching in and out of the back rooms. The hand tracking works decently, but sometimes it doesn't look right. I would give it an 8 out of 10, I think. It has a lot of amazing features, but you can't use it commercially and it's honestly maybe a bit overkill for me. And here we are with the last one on the list. This one is VNyan. VNyan is similar to Warudo as it's also made in Unity and it has similar features. It's also free to use and has lots of cool stuff to offer. It also looks extremely powerful and is really beautiful. You can download VNyan for free on itch.io. After downloading it, just unzip the file and run the exe. After starting VNyan, a wizard will pop out. No, not that kind of wizard. It'll first ask you to open your avatar and then you can just click OK. Then you need to check what kind of tracking you want. Then go through the expression mapping, which just means that VNyan will map your expressions to expression blend shapes. So if I made a surprised expression, it will activate the surprised blend shape. If by any chance you want hotkeys, you can set them here. Next, if you want any stream interactions, you can do that here, but I don't do streaming, so I'll skip this part. And now VNyan should immediately start tracking. If yours looks wrong or derpy, you can click on the menu button and change the settings. My guy here looks like he needs a chiropractor for some reason. When the tracking first started, my avatar's neck got tilted to the side a lot, and the only way I could get it back to normal is if I tilt my head all the way to the other side. It's got very good face tracking and the hand tracking is also surprisingly good, but the arms are buggy as hell and don't follow my arm movements very well. I tried changing the settings, but that just gave me more reasons to go to the chiropractor. I honestly don't know what I'm doing wrong here. I tried using a different model and the same happened. Thankfully, I later figured out that I can press Shift plus R to reset the tracking and it started working normally. I have no idea what was causing that error, but I'm glad that I fixed it. The arm tracking is still buggy though, so I might have to also use XR Animator for the tracking. I did a quick test and it does indeed work. The arm tracking in XR Animator is a lot better, but I think I like the face tracking on VNyan better. I can't seem to get VNyan to only take the body tracking though, probably because XR Animator is currently using my camera. VNyan has a load of features and settings like VSeeface. On the side, there's a lot of buttons like the node graph, props, and more. In the menu, you can click on the effects tab and add stuff like bloom, ambient occlusion, and even stuff like a digital glitch and analog glitch. You can also change the world to one of the default ones, or you can make a custom one. But I think making a custom world involves Unity, and the thought of using Unity makes my balls itch and I want to bang my head against the wall. The monitor button lets you see what blend shapes are active whenever you make a facial expression. In the props window, you can add text, images, and other props. I think you can also make custom props, but that once again involves Unity. Now here's the cool part of VNyan, the node graph. This node graph actually looks pretty simple, unlike the one from Warudo. It reminds me of Blender's shader editor. With the node graph, you can do a bit of visual scripting. For example, you can have your character get bonked if you press the G key. In the settings, you can actually have 4 VMC receivers, which I think is pretty cool. The performance of VNyan is very good and I always have 60 FPS. It's currently capped at 60 though, so it's probably above that. Adding effects while recording with OBS doesn't reduce the frames and it's all very smooth. The default worlds also don't cause any lag for me. VNyan is completely free to download and it should be fun to use commercially. Overall, VNyan is a really great free VTubing software, and if you're working with just a webcam like me, the face tracking works super well. The arms are kind of buggy though. It has some great features like the node graph that lets you create custom events. It also has some cool effects that you can adjust and control. Unfortunately though, I can't directly load 3D models as worlds and I have to go through a whole thing with Unity, which I absolutely despise. So, I've taken a look at all of these VTubing softwares and it's time for my final thoughts. I feel like what works best for me is using XR Animator with VNyan. XR Animator provides the tracking and VNyan does all of the effects and background. You can't really say that one software is the absolute best because it really depends on what you want to do. If you don't need anything super complicated with a decillion features, you can go with VSeeface, VNyan, or XR Animator. I feel like XR Animator is a bit more bare bones compared to the rest of the software that I've tested. If you just need motion tracking without all of the effects, nodes, and backgrounds, I would suggest XR Animator. If you do need simple effects and backgrounds, then I would suggest using VSeeface. It's got the basic things that you need and runs very well. If you would like full body motion tracking, then I would suggest using VSeeface with XR Animator. If you're super serious about VTubing and can afford it, Warudo would probably be a good option. It's got all the features you need and more. In my test though, Warudo doesn't have very good arm tracking with just a webcam, so I would also suggest using XR Animator. But if you can afford Warudo, you should probably get a leap motion or something that would be much better. If you're broke like me though, then the next best thing will be VNyan. It's got visual scripting like Warudo and has a boatload of features. Once again, for full body tracking, use XR Animator. With all of my tests in VNyan, VSeeface, and Warudo, the face tracking is usually very accurate and rarely glitches, but the arm and hand tracking often freak out or lag. And VSeeface doesn't even support arm tracking, so if all you need is face and head tracking, any of these softwares will be great. If you need arm, hand, or full body tracking though, definitely use XR Animator for that. And before I end the video, here's a little bonus tip for you. If you don't even have a webcam, you can use your phone as a camera. For Android, you can try using Droid Cam, which allows your computer to use your phone as a camera via Wi-Fi. I don't know if there's anything similar on Apple devices, but I'm sure one exists somewhere out there. Anyway, that's gonna be the end of this video. This has been my biggest video yet, and I hope to continue making more high quality videos. Not quite done with VTubing yet, so expect to see more videos on this topic. I might try to make custom avatars later. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stick around for whatever else I'm gonna be doing next. Subscribe and leave a like if you want to see more, and if you guys enjoy what I do, consider supporting me on Ko-fi. It helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate it. Ko-fi subscribers will gain early access to new videos, post about what I'm currently working on, and will get their names shouted out at the end of each video. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and see ya. You can also change the world to one of the default ones, or you can make a custom one. But
Sorry. Sorry. I'm allergic to closets.
I need some water, dear God. My mouth feels like sandpaper right now. My freaking toe, I just stubbed my toe. Next, you can choose your back.
Hello, brother.
For now, I'll just go with the default sky background. And
Hello, brother, again.